we are going to discuss about resource group properties, as we know how to create a resource group using Azure Portal and also using Azure PowerShell. When you deploy a resource group, you'll have empty resource group. It means there are no resources under the resource group when you create a standalone resource group, right? Here I'm going to take existing resource group to make you understand. So I'm considering prod scale set org, and I've got already a resource here. Let's proceed with our options that we have here under the resource group. When you click on the resource group, we have got multiple features or multiple properties or multiple options, whatever you call, which are very crucial to understand. And when you click on resource group, you'll see overview page, and you've got multiple options. And when you have got resources deployed already, you will see the list of resources under recovery or under resource group. Right now we have got option to delete a resource group. When you delete a resource group, it will ask for a confirmation to delete a resource group or not. When you click on or when you provide confirmation, it will delete entire resource group. It means all the resources under that resource group will also get deleted. We should be very careful whether you need to delete entire resource group including all resources under the resource group or only a resource under the resource group. If you want to delete only a resource under the resource group, click on this resource and you'll have a similar option to delete a resource. Should be very careful when you are trying to delete a resource group. And here we have got refresh option to refresh if there are any fresh deployments that you have added to this resource group. And we move to another resource group or to move to another subscription. It means if you have got any resources under the resource group, if you are planning to move from the existing resource group to any to if you are planning to move from existing resource group to another resource group, you can use this option. Or if you want to move entire resource group from one subscription to another subscription, you can use this option. You should be very careful. You have to follow some standard process, standard guidelines to proceed with this movement. It should have it should cover all the dependencies. We should not miss the dependencies. If you miss the dependencies like disks, virtual networks, or the connections between two virtual networks, then your moved resources will not work as expected. So again, you have to spend some time to troubleshoot that. Right? Should be very careful, and we'll see in some other sessions how to move to a different resource group, how to move to another subscription. And you can also export all the resources which are under this resource group into a CSV file just for your information purpose. Sometimes you may need to report the resources under a resource group, then you can execute this export to CSV option. Right, when you click on this option, this delete option will get enabled, tags will get enabled, and export template will get enabled. Now these are in gray state. It means you can delete individual resource also from this window. No need to go through this recovery services vault properties or any other resource properties. You have an option to choose delete only resource group. If you have multiple resources under this resource group, you can click on delete, and then you have to provide confirmation, and then the resource will get deleted. Right, so you can export this particular recovery services vault into a template format, which is a kind of ARM template. We'll see that in a separate session. So to avoid confusion, I'm covering only the properties in this session. Right, we've got 32 deployments succeeded in this resource group. However, we have got only one resource as of now. It means I have deleted all the resources which are there under this resource group. Right, So the next option we have got is activity log. The activity log, it is a platform log in Azure that provides insight into subscription level events. This includes an information like when a resource is modified, or when a virtual machine is shut down, when a virtual machine is started. You can view all the activities from this activity log in the Azure portal. Not only from Azure portal, you can also get all the activities which are listed for your specific resource group or a resource from this activity log option. You'll see this activity log option for most of the resources in Azure portal. You can also integrate these events to event hubs, functional apps, logic apps, and many more. We'll see that in our upcoming sessions. Now, we have got more options here in this activity log section. You can filter the logs from last 3 months. The maximum allowed logs from this Azure portal is 3 months. However, it's not showing clearly as 3 months. Let's click on this custom and let me choose, let's pick up from May, and here you can see that the start time cannot be more than 90 days in the past. It means you can have the logs, you can have the event logs only for the past 90 days. If you want to archive the logs, yes, you can automate that archive as well. If you need to keep it for your organizational references whenever is needed, you can go for archival of logs, right? You can download all the logs as a CSV format, and then you can use it for your references. Let's go for this subscription. If you have got multiple subscriptions, just filter the subscription that you want to choose for this resource group and for this activity log. And then if you want to see the logs only for the events which are critical, or if you want to see the logs only for informational events, right? If I want to go for only error logs, I'll check only this option. But however, just to make you understand, I'm making all the 4 event severities option, even informational, warning, error, critical, everything will get displayed in this activity logs. So the time span I've selected is 6 hours, but I'll go for last 1 week, and where it will have some sort of logs to make sure. Yeah, here it is. So this user has initiated to delete this existing vault from the resource group, but it has got failed. And there is an option to update a resource group. There is a log for update resource group which was succeeded 2 hours ago and on this resource group. So you'll see the list of logs. Let's say if you want to track anything that has been done or that has been triggered by someone within your organization, you can go ahead and track all the information here, and who was that and when was that. So you can filter multiple resource groups as well here. If you want to look for multiple resource groups or all resource groups or only specific resource group, you can choose one resource group and then proceed with your filters. And let's say I don't want to get these events based on the event severity. I don't want to get the activity logs based on the time span. I just wanted to get a filter based on the user who has initiated that one. I know one of my team member has done some changes to this resource group, but he's claiming that I didn't do. I can simply go ahead and add filter, and I'll choose event initiated by, and I'll provide the email ID of that person. It will display all the activity logs which has been initiated by a specific user. However, in the enterprise level subscriptions, it's very crucial to use a role based or access control based subscription logins. It's not recommended to use a common login for the subscription. Most of the enterprises, they follow a standard process, but a medium and small scale enterprises that I've seen, they were using a common login, which is a kind of a risk in case of any unforeseen events happen on the subscription for a specific resource or multiple resource, right? We've got logs where you can integrate all these logs to log analytics workspace. We'll see that in a monitoring session. And we also have an option to pin current filters. It means you can pin these current filters to the dashboard. When I say dashboard, it is a home page of your subscription. When you log in, you'll first see these filters, right? You can have multiple pinned dashboards or pinned filters on your home page. We can reset the filters as well. It will go to default. I'll reset this one. By default, this is the option. It will come up. The time span is 6 hours, and within that 6 hours, if there is any event, it will display. Otherwise, we have to change our time span, right? Hope you understand about activity logs. Let's proceed to access control. So people call it as Azure role-based access control. In shortcut, it is called as Azure RBAC. It is the authorization system used to manage access to Azure resources. To grant access, you have to assign specific roles to users, groups, and for various kinds of resources. In an enterprise level subscriptions, we have to enable this access control to make sure that you provide access only to the required or only to the authorized users. You cannot provide full control to everyone, or you cannot provide a reader permissions to everyone. You cannot provide contributor permissions to everyone. So it sounds odd for you if it is something new when you say owner, contributor, reader. Let's go for this view role assignments, or you can go with this option add a role assignment. Let's click on this add role assignment, and I've got multiple roles which are predefined, starting from owner, contributor, reader, ACR, delete, and whatnot. So you have got automation job operator, automation operator, Azure Org, Kubernetes cluster role, user creator, backup contributor, backup operator, backup reader, classic network contributor. There are a lot of predefined roles. Let's say if any of the cloud team who is managing only Azure backup services, they'll get a role to manage recovery services vault with backup contributor option, or with backup operator or backup reader. It all depends on how you are managing your subscriptions, how you are managing your Azure resources. Let's go to the basic roles. We have got owner role. When you assign owner role to anyone, that specific user will have full permissions. It means he can provide access to some other users as well, because he's the owner. And when you click on I symbol here, which is informational symbol, you can see the definition of that specific role. Grants full access to manage all resources, including the ability to assign roles in Azure or back. When you provide contributor role to a user, that specific user will have full control on the subscription. However, he cannot provide access to some other user. It means he has got full permissions, but he cannot enable access to some other user. And when you say owner, he has got full permissions, he can give access to different users as well. So you can see that again. It grants full access to manage all resources but does not allow you to assign roles in Azure or back. And similarly, we have got reader role, where when you enable this option, specific user will have access to all resources. It means he can view all resources but cannot manage, cannot do any changes. Right? Similarly, we have got org delete, we have got org ms signer. This was a new ACR delete. API management service contributor can manage service and the APIs, right? So Azure event hubs data owner depends on your requirement, depends on your enterprise level role based access control assignments. You can assign a specific role to a user. If it is hard to assign a role to user, will be will have an option to choose a group, a security group. The security group will have a multiple members where the permissions, the role that you're going to enable on that group will work for all the users under that security group. So for now, I'll choose a contributor role, and you can provide something like demo@outlook.com or cloud learnings @outlook.com, something like this. So you can provide multiple options. So instead of uh, considering this one, I mean, in enterprise level subscriptions, it is always recommended to work or to, it is always recommended to consider a role based assignments. Let's see some other options. We have got a role assignments. It means if you want to see the list of users that you have already enabled permissions on this subscription, you can see those accounts here, right? If you want to see, let me come back to access control. Yeah, if you want to view deny assignments, it means if you have blocked any of the users from this resource group or from this access control management on this resource group, you can see all those activities. If you want to go for classic administrators, you can see the actual administrator that belongs to this subscription, right? So when you click on access control again, check access, and we have got option to choose to create a custom role. It means you can create a custom role. Let's say I want to enable access to a specific user only to a virtual machine. I want to give access to a user only to a specific resource within the resource group or within the subscription, or I need to provide access to a specific resource as a owner, right? Let's say if you don't find the predefined roles, predefined permissions which you can enable for user, then you can go ahead and create a custom role by using this option. When you click on add a custom role, you'll have an option to choose custom role name. Let's say demo role name, and then description. We've got clone a role. If you want to clone a role, you can click on this and then choose the role that you want to clone. I don't want to clone any of the role. If you clone this existing role, it means the baseline permissions will get enabled based on the clone role. Let's say if you select contributor, all these contributor permissions will get enabled for this specific customized role, and also you can provide additional permissions from this permissions option, right? We have got assignable scopes, and then JSON, and you can go ahead and review and create, right? So this is how we can use this custom role option. And the next option we have got here is tags, and before that we also have an option to download a role assignments. It means if you want to see the list of roles that has been assigned to multiple resources on this resource group, you can go ahead and download all the role assignments. And also there is an option to choose or to remove assignment. It means if you have got a specific role which has been assigned to a different group or different users, if you want to take out one of the users on that list, you can check that option and then remove. As I don't have any resources on this resource group, I'm not getting any option to refresh or remove or anything, right? Okay, and let's move on to tags. When you consider tags, tags are very crucial in the enterprise level subscriptions. It means if you want to segregate the resources based on a specific value, if you consider the olden days, we were using tags to pin the papers. It means, let's say if you are submitting any application to a government office, you are pinning that application, or you are stapling that application, or you are tagging that application to make sure the bunch of application papers which you are submitting will be in one place. It means you are grouping resources based on your requirement. Let's say if that application is for some community certificate, you are going to attach all the relevant documents which are required for community certificate. Similarly, I've just taken that as an example. Similarly, here you can take multiple applications, you can get multiple resources and pin under one name. It is because to logically organize your resources based on your business hierarchy. Let's say I've given here application name as demo and environment as pre-prod, and after filter based on pre-prod environment. However, it is one way. I can still go to resource group and filter, but I don't want to get all the resource group resources based on this name. It means I want to get only virtual machines under I want to filter only virtual machines under resource group. I have to get only resources under the resource group. Let's say if I want to get only virtual machines which are hosted under all the resource groups by using tag value, yes, I can get it done. When you assign a tag value as pre-prod for all of your virtual machines, then by using this pre-prod tag value, when you click on this pre-prod tag value, it will display list of resources, list of virtual machines under this tag value business standards, right? When you consider events, you can integrate all of your resource group activities to multiple automated events. You can integrate it to Azure Function, Azure Logic Apps. You can integrate it to webhooks, storage queues, event hubs, and hybrid connections. So we'll see one by one all in our upcoming sessions. Now we have covered overview of resource group and the options under activity log, and how to assign a role and various types of roles which are there under access control and tag values.